Welcome everybody to the i3Net interview series. I'm Bianca, the CEO of i3Net. And now more than ever, due to the implications of COVID in the supply chain, Australian companies and the government are looking to local suppliers due to the uncertainty that the pandemic has presented. And so during these strange times, it's now more important than ever that businesses look great, and their website is a key part of that. And because Vivo Digital has made i3Net look so amazing with our new website design, I thought that I would speak with Ed today about all things in the digital space, particularly focusing on websites. So welcome, Ed. It's great to have you here today.
No, thanks, Bianca. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to talk to the i3Net community about how their website fits into their whole bigger marketing piece. So my name's Ed, Ed Birchall. I'm part owner of Vivo Digital, which is a local creative agency in Wollongong. We've been in operation since 2013 and working on a range of projects for small, medium enterprise through to larger corporates. Done quite a lot of work in the Wollongong area, which you may have seen. And I'm really excited to talk to you all about how a website can really add to your credibility.
Thank you so much for that, Ed. So Ed, why is a website important for credibility or perceived credibility?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned perceived credibility there, because like credibility with your business, there's a much bigger picture than just your website. Like let's face it, everyone's got a website, really, but it's more a matter of like how good your website is and how it stands up next to everyone else. And in this competitive market, and in this unique competitive market we're in, with everything being online, this conversation's online. Most of your conversations with potential vendors or potential customers is online. So your credibility, although you do great stuff in your business and your quality is excellent, and most people know that your stuff's great, those people that you're probably going for tenders with or submitting a grant for, they don't know anything about you. So is your website setting that perceived credibility that you're known for? You are credible, but is your website saying that about you? And so that's why I think in this market especially, is making sure that your website is telling the story that you tell every day in a normal or traditional face-to-face sort of meeting. Is it speaking the right language for your business? Is it visually attractive? So like I said before, everyone's got a website, but if you're going in for a tender with 5 other people on a project, and you submit your tender and they read it through and they like what they see, but then they go do a little bit of research about you, because everyone does research. They're going to do their due diligence and they're going to vet you. And so most people, well, there's stats out there that people make a decision on how credible you are, but within the first like half a second of entering your website. And that can seem quite daunting, but if you that first impression is better than the 5 other people that you're going up against, then it's going to be another tick in the box. Yeah, so I think a website's never going to win you projects, but it can definitely let you down. It could definitely be the reason why you would be not chosen over someone else. And so what I want to, that's why we're having this meeting, because I sort of want to talk to people about making sure that all of those touch points, and digital being the biggest one at the moment, making sure that's a really great representation of who you are.
So Ed, what makes a website good?
I think a good website is a website that is a good representation of your brand, that makes you, it's like as if when a user comes into your website, it's as good as having a conversation with you. You want the experience of hitting the website to be an extension of your business, not just you giving a massive dump of all the great things that you do. It's understanding our users and having a conversation with them. Not just saying, oh, here's our business name, and here's a list of services. That's great. Well, it was great once upon a time, but these days people want to be spoken to. You know, we're humans dealing with other humans. You want to feel like there's a conversation there. So a big thing we do with our clients is get a good understanding about who their users are, who their audience is, and then tailor the experience around that. So if there was a lot of stuff that this particular business wanted to say about what they do, it's framing that so that it's a question, or asking the user about what they want to get out of it, and understanding, you know, you might just want to dump all of the services you do, but it's more about what's the user coming to your website looking for. Are they just coming looking for your phone number? Don't get in the way of that. Make sure the phone number's right there. Do you want something in there that resonates with the industry that they're in, rather than you saying we do services in all these engineering capabilities, or do we talk more about I'm in mining, and how does this particular service apply to me? So if you've got something on there talking about the industry they're in, they're more likely to gravitate towards that than a particular service of yours. So trying to shift the focus on to the user and research them first before we go and do any website design. So
I think that's really such a good point, Ed, because I feel like when people design a website, they're thinking, okay, what do I do? I'm just going to put that on the website, rather than thinking about who are our customers and what do our customers need and what do our customers want to see when they come to a website that makes them feel confident. So it's flipping that around.
Yeah, 100% right. And so that's why that user research piece at the start of any we follow quite a process driven approach to our website builds, but understanding that user allows us to say, okay, you may make a lot of assumptions, and a lot of them would be right. And so research can either reaffirm your original beliefs about how the website would work, but sometimes there can be a little gem in there, like, I didn't realize that this particular user is going to come after this particular piece of content, so let's move that higher up on the page and make it really easy to get to. And you'd be amazed how much that can support you know, a good conversion rate. And so at the end of the day, like I said before, making the user making the website a great experience, so that it's not you know, so say if you've submitted the tender or applied for a grant, and someone's going to have a look at your website. I've often talked to my clients about, if you've got a really big tender and it could be really transformative to your business, then set your website up to back up that particular submission. You know, really, like if you're talking about a particular topic in the submission, then set your website up so that when they hit it, like there's continuity of message. You see it in the report or in the proposal, but you're also seeing it on the website. So I think you know, really thinking about the website as a business tool to back you up in any of your messaging, because no one's turning up to factories at the moment. No one's turning up to what your offices. So that first experience is your website.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's such a good takeaway, Ed. So for any of the members out there that are going for those big tenders or looking to work with a new customer, put that information front and center on your website, because then it will really help your case. I think that's a great takeaway, Ed. Before, when you were speaking, Ed, about making sure that the website had basically, you know, if you're a credible business, you want to have a website that shows that. How can you tell whether or not your website is a true reflection of your brand or not?
I think if you look at all of your different touch points of how you look, you know, your logo is a part of your brand, how you speak is part of your brand, the colors that you use in all of your collateral that you have, the fonts that you use. And so often, you know, a business could have a look at all those points in their website and their marketing and things, and see how consistent that message is. And I think consistency is key when it comes to brand representation. I think, you know, if you look at some of the biggest brands in the world, often you know who they are before you even see the actual logo. You know, you can tell by the colors or the fonts or whatever it's going to be. Like, I think Apple, for instance, if you see them without their logo, you know it's Apple, because you know that font, and you're seeing, you know, you can see and even without their devices, take all that away. If you just saw a piece of their marketing, you would know it's them. And that's really important from a brand point of view. And so when we work with our clients, usually the biggest conversation at the start, like we'll get someone come along and say, okay, we would like you to have a look at our website. So, okay, great, that's good. One of my first questions is, do you have a logo, for one? And they often say yes. And then the next question is, do you have any sort of brand guide? And a brand guide is so important because it is just a simple document that says, here's my logo, here's how to use it and how not to use it. Here is the colors here are the colors that represent our business, and the exact color codes. Here's the font set and how they're to be used, so that any creative person like myself coming along to do anything with the business, it's going to all look consistent. It's going to look the same. I can give you an example of one we did recently for David Bridge and Bridge Project Solution.
Oh yes, yep. So while we're just waiting for Ed to share his screen and to show that, so David Bridge is the Deputy Chair of i3Net, so it'd be really great to see some of the work that's really happened in his space.
Are you able to allow me to share?
Yeah, let's see. I'll get that happening.
So, yeah, so I was saying about the David's brand guide. So when David first came to us, this was his logo, and a big part of it. So, we had that conversation. Dave was like, we need a new website. Okay, great. Do you have logo? Yes. So this was what he provided. So, okay, good. That's the start. But then that's about it. He had one version of the logo, had no real understanding about the fonts, no real understanding about the specific, even the color codes that were in here. And he may have, and they may have been in past emails and buried, a long time ago, but he didn't have just one document sort of stating all these things. So you can see how important that is. So we then pulled it apart, made some small tweaks because we thought it was important to breathe some life into it, make it a bit more contemporary. And then we gave it some rules of, like, if it's on a white background, use it like this. If it's on we have this gradient that's been added to the brand, this purple gradient that runs behind. Found specific Pantone versions of all the colors, so that there's no reason why anyone can get it wrong. Now, you've got all these versions. You've got then a white version that sits over something that was over an image or something busy. Different spacing mechanisms and all those sorts of things. So and the fonts. So we've got Sans Serif Pro and Open Sans as the font stack, and a little bit of a blurb on what our brand means to us. And then this document is then used to then start the website. And so we had to do this first so that the website was a great representation of the brand. So starting with a good base like this is then the key to a successful website.
Definitely. And look, I mean, this is such a great example, and I've also seen firsthand how this worked for i3Net as well, because you made some tweaks to our logo. You didn't just say, yep, that's the logo, and then run with it. And by changing the colors, changing the logo slightly, it made the website so much more professional than it would have if you had just run with our old logo. And, it wasn't a huge process. It was just like, are you comfortable with this? And this is resonating. And I think that's a really strong thing that you do. So it's great to see another example of this with Bridge Project Solutions. Yeah,
well, when we take on a project, you get so emotionally attached to it, but also invested in making it a success, making it a success. That I don't want to go and just take someone's brand, their logo, and then just cobble something together for the purpose of just ticking the box of having a website. That's not what we do. I want to make every website we do as unique as possible, and so we work with our clients to make sure that happens. But like with the i3Net thing, we didn't steer away from the idea of the color palette. We just changed the colors slightly within that, so it was still green and it's still blue, but it was just more of a corporate, more of a modern professional image.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And probably a really good segue from here, Ed, is, if an i3Net member does need a new website, what is the build process that people need to go through? So obviously this is one step of it, but then what should people expect?
Well, our process, I mean, everyone will have something different, but I think a lot of your members would understand the standard design process, and what we do is no different to that, really. I mean, it's tailored to our industry, but it is that idea of understanding the brief, and which means understanding the user, and then developing some sort of quick sketches or some wireframes, we call them. That is just a blocky version of how the website's put together, but without using brand and getting distracted by images and color. And that's more about working on the content and making the content the hero, and then design can enhance that rather than us just giving you a template that you fill in the blanks. You know, we try to make sure that our design is there to enhance the messaging, and use images to enhance the messaging rather than the other way around. So understand the brief, understand the audience, develop a wireframe. We then go into design. So we do it in a static design, using our different software tools. Take that design, the developers then turn that into a coded website that everything we do is a bespoke custom solution, based around business needs. And then we then, test it, bug fix, and then work with the client, make sure that everyone's happy, and then launch it. So it's just that standard design process of like idea, design, and then production.
And Ed, when you said bespoke, then does that mean that if anybody needs changes, that's difficult later on for their website?
Absolutely not. Majority of our websites are done on the WordPress platform. People may or may not have heard of it. And there's WordPress and there's WordPress. You can buy templates and you can try to do it yourself. But unfortunately, what happens with that, you can get it to maybe 70% of what you need, but then that extra 30% is really hard to achieve. To get something so that, like we're saying at the top of this whole meeting, is credibility and making sure it's a unique experience and sitting above everyone else, so that it's supporting you, not letting you down. So we build it so that everything's editable on the website. You can edit all content, all images, reorder things on the page. Very, very little is done so that it's locked down, because I want to encourage our clients to get in there and modify it, get there, regularly get in there and modify things, change some copy, add new projects as they come along. If writing blogs or writing articles is part of your marketing campaign, get in there and do it, make it easy for them to do it. Because the website is just the hub of the whole marketing campaign, really. I mean, it should be seen as the hub. It's where all marketing activity points back to. If you do Instagram, it points back to the website. If you do LinkedIn, it should be pointing back to the website. So it's the hub. So if we made it hard for people to edit it, no one will use it. It'll just be scary, and it'll just be this thing that's over there. But by making it easy to use, people get in there and do it regularly.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really great. Ed, that went super quick. That were the end of my questions. Is there anything else that you wanted to add at all?
All I wanted to, I suppose, say is that we're here, we're local, we're here in Wollongong. We're very, very invested in the success of i3Net. We worked with a number of clients within the network, and I just want to see the region really doing well. And if we work as a consolidated front and market ourselves all really well, really professionally, link back to i3Net, I think it's really important. Then all of the good things that we're trying to achieve by being that consolidated front will come true. But I think a big part of that is that making sure that your business credibility is reflected in your website.
Definitely. No, that's awesome. Thank you, Ed. But look, I agree. It's about, the i3Net is so strong because of the collective capability that we have in the network. And if everybody their website and matches their amazing skill base, it brings us up. Definitely.
It brings us all up. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, no, that's great. And so Ed, the process, if people are wanting to speak to you about their website, how can they reach out to you? What's the process?
you can visit our website,
Yep.
which is vivodigital.com.au or vivo.digital.
Yep.
We registered a fancy, like, modern domain name of .digital, which is cool. But we via the website, you can email me at ed@vivodigital.com.au, or even if they wanted to get in touch via yourself, or go and talk to David at Bridge Project Solutions, or we've done a lot of work with Soto, so either Frank or Jim. So if you just wanted to get a bit of a background on us before you came and spoke to us, go and speak to any of those guys.
Yeah, fantastic. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, Ed. Well, thank you, Ed, so much for your time. I think it's such an interesting topic, and the thing that I really like about Vivo is that you do spend the time to understand why the website is there, what that purpose is, and you create something that is really useful for the clients and the customers, and it looks good, and it also lasts as well. It's not something that dates very, very quickly. So, you know, I think the design work that Vivo Digital put out is an amazing standard. So it's great to have you as part of i3Net. Thank you for being a part of the community as i3Net members, and thank you again for your time, Ed.
No, not a problem, Bianca. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, Ed. Bye.
Bye.